What's up? Semen retention. Fake people will hate you for no reason. I think you can run across a lot of guys that you probably thought was a friend growing up. And it's definitely a lot of guys I thought I was friends growing up. But anytime I try to talk about stuff that was serious or real or meant something in life, you know, I think that opened the door for a lot of guys to pick on you and stuff because I think when you younger and when you hang around certain kids, you can hang around a lot of people who when they're kids, they don't care about being successful in life. They don't care about, you know what I'm saying, even creating their own lane in life, or doing something that's unique to them. I'm not saying that you gotta try to be different for the sake of being different, but I think when real like genuinely real people and fake people, they don't mix with each other. It's like water and oil. Those people don't mix because the person that's being real is gonna offend and cause the reaction out of that fake person to pick on them, to call them lame or weird or whatever. And it's not even from a self improvement level because it's a lot of guys who will pick on you for trying to better your life. But I'm more talking about um like if you grew up liking uh like me, for example, I feel like I grew up and I always liked it superhero movies, and I like going to the movies to see superhero movies and stuff. And I could just say this, like I remember, and I ain't gonna say this person was just fully fake, but I was making it clear that I'm not gonna change who I am or the people I hang around. And I think I said this in another video, but I remember it was this girl I was talking to one time, and she was trying to tell me not to hang around my friends. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like I'm just super close with my friends, but she was just trying to make it seem like, oh, my friends was weird and she don't like that. I remember she said she don't like that, because she thought my friends was weird or whatever. And I remember, I can't remember what I exactly said, but I basically said something like, well, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hang around them anyways, regardless. I said something like that. It was basically along the lines of, you know what I'm saying? I'm not stopping hanging around nobody, and that's what it is. And I remember when I did that, and I felt good that I did that. And it wasn't out of like a mean thing, but it was like you really can't change who you are for a girl, for a friend, for people who you thought was friends. You can't change that, bro. And I'll sit here and be called weird or whatever. But if it's something I generally like to do, I'm not stopping that. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not finna just be a yes man and be a person that's gonna, be a part of the crowd and do what everybody else doing. I don't genuinely care. And I think when you become more masculine, you do stuff, you know, because you like to do it. You don't do it because I'm trying to impress people, you know? And especially when you become like a grown adult, it's your life. Like, stop trying to impress people. I feel like it's so many people, they go their whole life trying to impress people. And the people that be trying to impress people and look cool in front of people and act like they have it when they don't have it, those be the people who can't be real with themselves. You get what I'm saying? With where they get in life or with like who they want to be either, because it's levels to that. It don't just stem from them wanting to impress somebody. It stem from them wanting to be included, wanting to be a part of the group, wanting to be, you know what I'm saying, uh known, or just, be socially accepted with. But I'm okay with not being socially accepted. I'm okay with, doing stuff on my own and just genuinely liking stuff. And I'm not going to be different for the sake of being different. You know what I'm saying? Because I think I don't want to categorize people that do what a lot of other people do. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's being fake. It's stuff like working out. That's something that I genuinely like to do. I know a whole bunch of other people like to do it too. But I'm just saying I'm doing it because I genuinely like to do it, not because this person over here doing it or that person over there doing it. And yeah, man, and I just think when you get around people who not doing anything for themselves, and then you come around and you doing everything for yourself and you being yourself and you're being unapologetic about it, that rub off wrong when people are not being that themselves, you know? And so the older I get, I just understand that like the guys who be themselves the most, usually the guys who be themselves the most will have friends, will be popular, really. You know, I think one thing with me is my older teenage years in high school, I was restricting myself so bad. That's why I think, you know what I'm saying, I was alone a lot, you know, but you know, and see, I feel it just kind of made me mad because I did have many opportunities to date girls and be around a lot more people, you know, but I always kind of shut that down and just isolated myself, you know. And so, yeah, man, I think a lot of times when you're fake, it's harder for you to fit in because you can't just be yourself. You're trying to be like everybody else. The realest people probably are the most social people, to be honest with you. You know, and that tells me that I still have a lot of work to do because I don't want to think of myself as superficial, but I know I got sides to me that I do want to impress people. I do want to do stuff like that, you know. And I don't think that's good or whatever, but I just think that people who be their self, they naturally fit in with people. You get what I'm saying? Because they're holding their own presence. They're not trying to become somebody else or become like the next person. They hold their own presence, so they attract people from that, you know. And that's just extremely important. A lot of people don't understand that, you know. That's why I think sometimes with certain people I used to hang out when I was younger, I would always feel outcasted. You know how you have a friend group, but it always be that one friend who the other friends pick on. I felt like I was that friend because, you know what I'm saying. Uh, I really wanted to do stuff a certain way, and they were a lot of my other friends at the time just cared about more superficial stuff, you know, and cared more about the bling and the superficialness and the materialisticness. And it's a lot of girls out there who they don't care about a guy being smart. They don't care about a guy being intelligent. They want the criminal. They want the guy this bad boy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here to try to be no bad boy. I'm not here to try to be anybody like that. I'm trying to be me, and I'm not trying to just do it for the sake of impressing. You know, I think guys who try to impress people, I think those guys get more girls because they I feel like girls like superficialness as well, but not every girl. But I think a lot of them do. The girls who usually like the criminals or the bad boys or the thugs. You get what I'm saying? They like the more superficial, nonsense, dumb type of stuff too. You know, and so that goes to show you that just because a girl like you and stuff like you know, it's more to it than just you getting girls. Because you know it's a lot of dumb guys out there. They got girlfriends. They got pretty girlfriends. The smarter guys, I feel like, have a harder time because they want to do stuff the right way, But I think sometimes those guys can also not be themselves either. They could try to impress people and be, a people pleaser, but they be like a people pleaser in a way where they're not trying to seem cool. They're trying to seem perfect. You get what I'm saying? So, uh, I mean, yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got to say. Peace out.